Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Today I'm going to show you how to draw a mini mandala in just 15 minutes. I'm using a Micron PN plastic nib pen, a Zentangle brand graphite pencil for drawing, and I'm using a 2" by 2" Zentangle brand tile called the Bijou tile. I love these little tiles. Feel free to make a mandala on anything that you have, using any pencils, pens, crayons, markers, anything that you have. Okay, so a mandala is a circle that has repeating patterns. So typically a mandala would start with a circle in the middle and you would grow your patterns around the outside. My mandala, however, is going to start in the bottom right-hand corner and work up. So essentially I'm just making a quarter of a mandala. Okay, so to do this, I'm gonna take my pencil, I'm gonna take my pencil and I'm gonna draw a line from the corner to corner, upper left-hand corner to the bottom right-hand corner, breaking that tile up into two sides. That just kind of keeps my patterns a little bit symmetrical. Okay, I'm going to start in this bottom right-hand corner and I'm going to imagine a penny laying on this corner. And I'm just going to draw what would be kind of the top left-hand corner of that penny. Drawing a little arch. Then I'm going to bump out a little ways and I'm going to do another very light with my pencil, another curve. It's about the width of my pencil. And I'm going to do another one. Feels like we're drawing a rainbow. And I'm going to do one more, making sure I've got room here on the outside so I can add some things at the end. So just like that. Go ahead and pause if you need to give yourself a second to create this little grid. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch to my pen. And I'm going to trace that first rounded area and the second rounded area. Just like that. Now mandalas are amazing. There are infinite amounts of patterns to put in these. Some of the patterns we use are Zentangle tangles. Some of them are just lines and shapes. Okay, so I'm going to skip this bottom corner and I'm going to go right in between these two lines here and I'm going to draw a series of bumps or petals, just going up and curving, making each of these bumps touch that top line and come back down, touch and come back down. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to color in these spaces in between, kind of like the background. Just like that. Then I'm going to take my pen and very closely I'm going to put an aura around that line. Okay. Now I'm going to find that center line here and I'm going to make a rounded leaf shape. Just like that. And I'm going to do another one on each side, and if I have room, I might be able to put another one or a half of one. Doesn't really matter. Putting in those little leaf shapes. And then I'm going to take each leaf shape and I'm going to draw a line down the center. And on the right hand side of each of those, I'm going to put a series of diagonal lines. I'm just doing the right side of these, but feel free to do both sides. Just like that. And I'm going to add 3 little dots on the left side of those leaves. Okay. Now I'm going to trace that line that goes over the top of those leaves. And then in these spaces in between, I'm going to aura those leaves. So I'm going to go down and up, kind of like a curvy little letter V. So go down and up, down and up. I'm doing it 2 times because that's what I have space for. Over here on the end, I only have room for the one side of that. Essentially, we're just filling in that space with auras. Okay. For this next section, I'm going to make crescent moon. So crescent moon is a curve and then a smaller curve inside that has the bump, the colored in bump. And I'm just going to make these all the way around. And then put that smaller little bump inside and color it in. One thing about mandalas is kind of balancing those light and dark lines. So the first section we did, we colored in between those petals, and now we've got these bumps filled in. So we've got some heavy areas of ink, which are very pretty. Okay, now I'm going to trace that last line, just like that. And I'm going to aura just inside that line, very narrowly, not worrying about it being perfectly round or perfectly straight. Okay. So I have these little crescent moon shapes, and I'm going to aura those just by going over the top, not coming all the way down and touching, just giving it a little aura. And then I'm going to make these upside down teardrops in those little crevices in between each of those bumps. And I'm going to put smaller ones on each side of those. Just tucking those in there. just like that. All right, I'm going to leave that there for now, and I'm going to go on and do this last outer area. So to do this, I'm going to go where that line was. That line comes down, and I'm going to go to the side of it and make that kind of a rounded leaf shape again. So I'm going to do at least 2 of those on each side. And if I've got room for more, I can do more. And I'm going to aura those. So trace. You're kind of hovering and just following that line. Now we get to go back in and fill in some fun details. I'm thinking this video is going to be longer than 15 minutes. It might have to be a 20 or 30-minute mandala. I apologize for that. Okay, in each of these leaf shapes, I'm going to put a V. Just like that. And then on each side of that V, I'm going to put another little line. So one on each side. Like that. And then in each of those little divided areas, I'm going to make a petal. And then I'm going to color or fill in the outside of that petal. So make a little petal shape in there and fill in that outside. Petal shape, petal, and a petal. Isn't that so pretty? So putting these little petal shapes in, filling in that outside area. Again, these dark areas make that contrast and make it look so pretty. Getting that muscle memory going of repeating those shapes, coloring them in on the outside. Little petals, coloring it in. And like I've got these kind of half petals over here. So I'm just going to imagine what that might look like. Okay. In between each of these petals, I'm going to put a little upside down V and aura it. So 1, 2, 1, 2. And then let's go back down into where these little petal flowery type things were. And in each of those, I'm going to put a line and a dot, a line and a dot. And I'm going to do that same thing down here on that first set of long petals that we made. A line and a dot. If you have something else you'd like to put in yours, go ahead. Just like that. And then down in this bottom corner, I'm going to aura the inside of that. Nice and close, just giving it a little separation there. I'm going to do another one, this time keeping it kind of wide, and I'm going to color in that bottom corner and aura that. All right, I've got a lot of space up here between these little petals, so I'm just going to put a little black dot in between each of those to fill in that white space. And then where this triangle comes out the top, I'm going to put a little dot, big dot, little dot. And at the top of these petals, same thing. Little dot, big dot, whatever you can fit. So where the petal comes out, little dot, big dot, not a lot of room. Okay, that is our mini mandala. A little bit tricky, but rather simple lines repeated. So whatever you start to draw, you can draw a spiral, you can draw an oval, a leaf shape, a flower shape, a bug, anything you want. As long as you're repeating it, it gives that mandala spirit, basically. So mine, I think, looks pretty good. If you want to add any lines inside these petals, or you want to color in these little diamond shapes, feel free to do that. As always, initial your work, turn your mandala over, date it, and write a little journal entry about what's on your heart this week. Thank you so much for joining me for this mini mandala. I hope that you enjoyed it. I sure did. Thank you so much. Enjoy.